This creative process is a little bit different than like what Hashduo does with like its client side. Like this kind of went back to our roots of like Aggregate, where we're just creating with our friends. Like Evan's our friend, and the whole creative process, it just felt like we were just excited all the way. Like there's no client pressure or anything like that. It's more just like, dude, that was a cool idea, let's do it. And then it totally took off, and I think we won like an IDEA like award for it as well. So that was pretty cool, and I think that's what got us to saying like, man, that was like a fun experience. Like not only did we create something cool, just the experience of creation with friends. We wanted to do it again, so that's why we ended up doing which was like the STEM tool.
Evan Lessler. I do a clothing company called Adapt, and we're based here in the Bay Area in San Francisco.
When we first started Aggregate, like us not really knowing what we're doing, I remember we were just kind of looking at brands that we liked, and so a lot of like my friends in my circle, they wear gold-blooded gear, they love Adapt, and so I was like, man, he's local, like maybe I should just reach out and be like, how do you start a brand? So I literally cold emailed Evan, I think out of nowhere, and I was like fingers crossed, like hoping he would respond. And I'd just be curious what your thoughts were when you saw that email.
As I recall, you sent me an email, and then I think so Aggregate was already a thing, because I'm pretty sure I went to the Aggregate website and I saw the stuff. So obviously, like, you weren't just some random person out of nowhere. Like, I saw you had a brand and stuff, and I really liked the stuff. So I mean, it was totally natural. Like I like what you guys were doing, and I think we met up for coffee, right?
Yeah, we met up for coffee. I think in SF, and we were just chopping up, just talking shop, and it was pretty cool. And we just, I think obviously, he was a successful entrepreneur that, I was super interested in learning about his journey, but then just on a personal level, like, I think we just had the same vibe, so just connected on a friend level too. Yeah.
That's the best way, I think, it's just organic, similar industries, similar goals, and it just comes together, that's the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and so I think first it was just like us picking your brain for advice. I think me and Mike were just asking you a ton of questions. But then soon we're like, man, maybe we should just do something together as well. Like we enjoyed talking about all these ideas, and so I think that was kind of how, I think it was like one conversation or another just led to like, hey, maybe we should just create a product together. And so that's how we decided to kind of make the Carabiner.
When we were looking at the Carabiner, there was a component to it where it was just a fixed ring, right? And it held all of the key rings. And I was like, hey, John, what if we made it so that thing kind of hovered within, the ring hovered within the Carabiner? He's like, dude, that's genius. And that's how it all evolved, right? And so that 3D element, that creative thinking process, just created that cascading effect, which led to the Carabiner, the Radius.
And I mean, what you just said, that's exactly kind of what I'm talking about, because, I had an idea for what I wanted it to look like, and it was just kind of like this, I like the uniform, it doesn't, it's all sort of like geometric and stuff, and but then I don't know anything about how do you actually make that a thing. It looks cool, but how do you actually make it work? And then that's kind of where your expertise and knowledge of materials and just how things function together, that's where that comes in perfectly, and it can actually bring that to be a viable product. And I still personally think that that's like one of the best. I mean, it's like the coolest carabiner I've ever seen. Like I think it's great, and I'm glad that people did respond to it. I think people love things that are unique. So it's taking something that's pre-existing. Everybody knows what a carabiner is. Hold your keys, or you can use it for climbing or whatever, right? But I had never seen one that looked like that. That had this kind of functionality with this little ring that moved and stuff. So, it's pretty basic, but I think people reacted to just the unique visual nature of it and the way that it worked. It was exciting. And it's kind of simple, but it just adds something new to a pre-existing concept.
For sure. When you took out, when we had our meeting, you showed us your carabiner, the stainless steel carabiner, and it was a very minimal approach to everyday carry, right? You had 2 keys on there. One was like your store key, and the other was your car key. And that was the idea. We wanted to keep it minimal, but also fidget spinners, I remember at the time, was something that was really popular. Right? Everyone had one, and we wanted to do a spin-off of that, and that's how, the idea of the Radius Carabiner was evolved.
When COVID started to happen, I think, all businesses were like hit in different ways. And for us, I think we wanted to figure out a way we could contribute and collaborate with them. So, Evan was already doing face masks, and we had done some face masks with some hospitals. So, I think both parties already were doing, stuff individually, but we wanted to collaborate again. Evan was the one who actually texted, I think he texted me and Mike. He's like, hey guys, I have this really good idea, let's hop on a call.
To what you were saying, so we had already had masks, and everybody was kind of thinking about what can we do to kind of support this situation that we're all in. We thought, and that we could put a little twist on the whole sanitary tool thing. And I think it happened in a similar fashion to the carabiner. We kind of just collaboratively went through a couple different concepts, and then these guys came back with the finished product, I think, which I think is really cool too. Like I think it's a great product. And there were some back and forth about materials and potentially what the functionality. Like there's a bottle opener component, so that I think was helpful in just making it an everyday tool. So even if it's not related to sanitation or whatever, it's still something that you want to have on your feet because it had a basic functionality. So
for sure,
that was part of it. But I think we kind of went back and forth on materials and what was feasible to make, and then what we ended up with, I think we're pretty happy with.
We wanted to do something that was antimicrobial, just the material naturally, and so copper being one of the elements that are sort of naturally antimicrobial. It does have a timeline, right, in terms of how long it takes for the metal to react to the germs and the viruses themselves. But the material, being that it's somewhat expensive, there's obviously more exotic materials that will react quicker, but cost came into play, right? We wanted to keep the cost affordable for people who are using it and are purchasing it. So we considered brass, right? But there's a component to brass where it tarnishes, and so there's a finishing process that's a proprietary process that has been applied to maintain the antimicrobial properties and also keep it from tarnishing.
Functionally, like the shape, everything was really considered in terms of how to make this iconic, how to make it so that it can open a bottle, it can press screens, things like that. But the actual metal selection, I think that was like a key thing to make sure, once this thing is touching contaminated surfaces, we want to make sure that it's by itself, it's like autonomously kind of killing those bacteria afterwards. So that's why we created a brass one. And then obviously we created a black one too, in case for some people, they're like, well, I'm going to wipe it down anyway, but they really like the depth, kind of the black branding, and so we had 2 color choices for that.
Yeah, so the black version is it's black anodized. It's hard anodized, not just any form of anodized. So it has a tougher texture and for surface finish to it. So people who prefer something that's lighter weight and don't really care more about the aesthetics and less about the antimicrobial properties, but still has the same function. And not only is it's also more economical too in terms of cost. So we provided those two, choices.
So I'm a graphic designer, so everything I do is 2D, basically. It's just pictures and stuff. So with you guys, it's, you guys are 3D. You guys are prototypers, and you create physical products. And for me, that's really fun and exciting because I can draw something up, but in terms of actually making it a thing is a whole different thing. So, when it comes to graphic tees, that's not an issue, right? I can design something and then it's printed on a shirt and then we sell it. But as it pertains to, a little bit more complicated products, things that have moving parts, things that have mechanical components, it's a whole other spectrum. So, working with guys like you, it's kind of like, it's exciting because it's like a whole other, with CAD and everything else, it's just a whole other discipline. So I think combining those two things is great because you can, bring these things to life a lot easier.
As designers, we have this superpower to generate ideas and make them reality quickly. And I think like for COVID, it was like, I think a key discussion point we had with Evan was like, well, how quick can we do this? Because the pandemic is happening now. So that's where I think like the design superpowers of like both sides, graphic design, branding, and the physical industrial design side really came together to produce this this device as quickly as possible. So I think designers in general have an innate ability to understand and problem solve quickly, but then they also have the ability to create.
I already said a little bit about, I love the marriage of, the graphic design and the industrial design components. I think it's just the 360 of everything to bring something to life. And then absolutely, during this time, it's, if we had come up with this idea and concept like today, right, we probably wouldn't put it out because it's already been, almost a year and everything. So a lot of it has to do with, how timely something is, how relevant something is, how people can apply it to their lives. Like, all designers out there are sort of thinking about what's relevant and what makes sense to me right now,
Yeah, and I credit to you, Evan, you did a lot of work on the kind of the out-of-bag experience, because obviously we had to keep these products sanitized as we ship them. So we did have to think about bag solutions, and then so the little card that you pull out, it's graphically designed, and I think all those little details still add to the branding aspects of it. So sure, we are creating a product that is helping with the situation at hand, but all encompassing, the common theme is that we're still kind of, it's a brand collaboration. So the product still needs to feel designed and branded, and so that in itself is in this kind of dark time, when they open that gold package, they still kind of get that delight out of bag experience, and so that was important to us as well.
Absolutely. I think everything it's something could serve a purpose, but as a designer, it's I feel like it should still look cool. I mean, it has to. There's both things, right? There's aesthetics and then there's utility, and you should kind of have both. I mean, it's that's what creates the desire. I mean, look at Apple or any company that's very design based. It's of course their products are very utilitarian and useful, but they also look amazing, right? If the iPhone was really clunky and ugly and didn't, have the same clean aesthetics, it's so it can still function exactly the same, but it's going to be a lot less appealing to people. So I think you kind of need to have both, no matter what. Even if it's strictly a tool, it should still be presented in a very appealing package.
Yeah, absolutely. On our end, collaborations have been super helpful. So collaborating with Evan, it's brought more customer base to our audience as well. So I'd just be curious, Evan, you do a lot of collaborations yourself, throughout the years, of building Adapt. How have collaborations kind of helped, scale Adapt to where it is now?
Yeah, I love collaborating. I think collaborating ever since the beginning, I've always believed that and they're awesome. So it's like you get to meet and work with new cool people. So there's that. There's producing a new product. You know, it's multiple minds coming together to create something you may not have thought of, you know, individually. So you're gonna get a cool product, and then from the marketing standpoint, you're leveraging both audiences, right? So you're bringing more people to this product. You're kind of elevating both entities. So I think collaborations are all upside, very little downside. It's great. So, you know, I try to work with as many people as possible, whether it be like musicians, other designers, other brands, like athletes, like whatever the case may be. I think it always ends up being a positive. And with you guys, you know, I don't think I had worked with another sort of industrial design based or sort of product based company before, so that's been really fun. And just getting from your perspective a whole different sort of medium that I'm not very familiar with, and you know, I still don't know how you guys like create the 3D renderings or like any of that stuff. I don't know how to use any of those CAD programs. It's always very impressive to see how you whip these things up. So it's I think I love working with different entities and stuff. So collaborating with people and that kind of stuff is about the people. And you know, I can tell right away, you know, you're a really good dude, genuine, obviously like a good designer and wanting to, you know, grow your brand. And you know, you can collaborate with an entity and just kind of be like, hey, this is a business thing and we're gonna make some money, and you know, that's perfectly fine, and I do plenty of that. But it's cool when you can really, you know, it's like you like the people. It's like, oh, these guys are really cool and just normal and talented too. So it's kind of like, that's a much better situation. I think it has more longevity because you actually are encouraged to want to continue working with those people. So yeah, I mean, likewise, I think it's been great, you know, getting to know you guys and being able to actually produce some cool products along the way.
Yeah. It must be so cool to, like, when you're just walking out and you just see strangers like wearing gold-blooded gear. I mean, I know for Mike and myself, when we see people using the products that we've designed, it's like such a cool feeling. Like for you get to walk around the Bay Area and you just see like gold-blooded like everywhere, you know. That must be real cool, right? Yeah,
it's always, and I mean, I'm sure you guys get the same feeling. Like you said, I feel just a lot of gratitude to people, because in my head I'm like, wow, okay, so I've done this thing that's really fun for me to do. I put it out there. I don't know what's going to happen, and you've responded by, I mean, I'm assuming you have a job, so you have money, so you're working at your job, you're making money, and then you're spending a portion of that money on the thing that I've created.
Yeah.
Because you like that. And it's like, to me, it's like the best form of support or whatever, right? It's like you're willing to spend your limited resources towards something that I created, and it doesn't get much better than that for me, I think.
Well, where can everyone find you? Like, Evan, like, where can they find, you know, learn more about you, or else just see your gear? Yeah,
so, you know, online it's adaptclothing.com, and then we're on Instagram, Twitter, @adapt, and that's pretty much the main places.
Thanks, Evan, for taking the time to.
Thanks, Ariel, for facilitating this whole.
Thanks, Ariel.
Yeah,
thanks, Ariel. Thanks, Evan.
You guys.
All right, guys, have fun.
Yeah,
have a good one.
Talk later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you guys land on Carabiner when you guys first collaborated? Like, was that your first idea, or were you guys thinking of anything else before that?
Yeah, we were thinking of a bunch of stuff.
We were thinking of a bunch of stuff. There's things that we talked about that we have not launched yet, so maybe
we can't reveal everything.
So sneaky.